Today we are making up carrot cake, which I hear is one of your favorites. I keep mine pretty simple, but I'm like nuts and carrot, not of course carrots, I'm sorry, but raisins. And so we're in Portugal doing this, but I have not found clove. I usually put clove in my carrot cake, but I couldn't find cloves. That's the only spice that's missing, but I think it'll still be good. I like to measure my vanilla in love.
And for me, that story is really intertwined with giving birth, really, and becoming a mom, because unfortunately my symptoms started very soon after giving birth. They gave this analogy of going through cancer is kind of like going up this mountain, and you've got all these people cheering you on, and people are giving you the tools to get up this mountain and things, and then you get to the top of the mountain and everyone says, "Great job, have a good life," and you're sitting at the top of the mountain and you're exhausted and you're terrified. I think for me, living the sweet life right now means like really giving myself self-compassion, and it also means like taking in the good with the bad.
Sweet Life with Nikki.
And now it's game on.
Welcome back to Sweet Life with Nikki, where we explore the stories, lessons, and turning points of a life worth tasting. Today's episode is about something we rarely talk about openly: what happens when life completely interrupts the story we have been telling ourselves. My guest today is Renee, a biomedical engineer with a PhD in medical imaging who develops software tools that help oncologists better make treatment decisions. Her career has taken her all over the world, from the United States, where she's from, South Africa, Malaysia, New Zealand, and United Kingdom, and chapters in France, and of course here in Portugal. But the most transformative chapter of her life did not come from a laboratory or a research project. After a long journey with IVF, Renee became a mom. And just 8 months after the birth of her beautiful daughter, at only 36 years old, she was diagnosed with onset colorectal cancer. Navigating cancer while caring for a newborn forced her to confront not only her health, but also the importance of transforming her body, advocating for herself, and finding community in moments that truly felt isolating. Please welcome Renee! Thank you for being here. Okay, so today we are making up carrot cake, which I hear is one of your favorites.
It is my favorite, yeah.
Okay, so why is carrot cake your favorite? That's an easy question.
Oh my gosh, I actually don't even know if I was prepared with that. I think it's my dad, actually. I think my dad and I both have similar tastes, and I don't have a big sweet tooth, but that's my favorite dessert. So
yeah. Now, do you like certain things in it? Because I keep mine pretty simple, but I'm like nuts and carrot, not of course carrots, I'm sorry, but raisins. And
I'm happy with it all in there, to be honest. I love it all, and I love a bit of spice too, you know. You add a bit of cinnamon.
Okay, we have some cinnamon and nutmeg today.
Nice.
Okay, so we're in Portugal doing this. So I have not found, I'm sure it's around. So please, people in Portugal, don't be like, Nikki, it's here. But I have not found clove. I usually put clove in my carrot cake, but I couldn't find cloves. That's the only spice that's missing, but I think it'll still be good.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be great.
Okay. So while we're going to start off just kind of cooking, and I'll ask you some questions and just share with me your story and kind of how everything, happened with you in terms of discovering that you had cancer, and then that whole journey through that process. So we'll kind of talk about that as we begin to make our carrot cupcakes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to have you help me. So we have 1 cup of oil. So I use I use sunflower oil, or usually like a neutral oil is what I typically try to use. So we're going to use 1 cup of that. We're going to use a 1/2 cup of regular sugar, and we're going to use a 1/2 cup, a firm packed cup of brown sugar. All right, so I'm going to mix this together, and while I'm mixing this together, talk to me about your journey. Like, how did you discover that you had cancer? Can you tell me a little bit more about that story?
Yeah. And for me, that story is really intertwined with giving birth, really, and becoming a mom, because unfortunately my symptoms started very soon after giving birth. And I've realized now that it's a very, very common experience for women with colorectal cancer who have it postpartum, is for their symptoms to be called postpartum symptoms. Because, you know, without going into too much detail while we're cooking and things, but, you know, when you have rectal bleeding and you're young and you're a female, and you're postpartum, the first thing they say is it's hemorrhoids. It's postpartum hemorrhoids. And for months and months, that's what they told me. And, yeah, and actually, so I saw the GP around 8-9 times before I actually got a diagnosis. But most of the time, if I came to the doctor and I said, you know, I haven't had a bowel movement in 3 weeks, and they said, well, you're breastfeeding, you need to drink more water. Or I started losing weight and they said, well, you're postpartum, you're probably losing all of your baby weight. So I live in the UK, so I'm in kgs, but I lost 8 kg within 2 months. That's not baby weight.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, or I was sick all the time, but my daughter had just started nursery. So they said, well, your daughter just started nursery. What do you expect? You know, you've got all the viruses out there. And
you maybe were tired.
I was
like,
tired.
Well, you're a new mom.
Exactly. I was exhausted. They said, yeah, you're a new mom. What do you expect? Even though, like, touch wood, my daughter's always been a good sleeper. So like I kept telling them, you know, she sleeps through the night. That's not my excuse.
So you could feel it with your intuition.
Yeah, my intuition was saying something was wrong. But, you know, there's a side of you that just wants to trust your doctors. You know, you hear something reassuring and you want to latch onto it. And you want to say, okay, that's the truth, because I don't want it to be the alternative. Right. And then there got to be a point where I just knew. And so I actually so I live in the UK, so we have the NHS public health system. But at that point, I wasn't getting anywhere through the public system. So I actually decided to circumvent it and see a doctor privately. And I was diagnosed within 30 seconds of my exam. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, but you know what? One of the things that I like to tell all of us out there is that we have to trust ourselves, that intuition, right? So you kept pushing and pushing because you were like, okay, yes, I do have a new baby, or yes, but 8 kilograms or kilograms, right?
Yeah.
Because I do pounds,
which is probably approximately 18 pounds.
18 pounds. Okay, so 18 pounds in 2 months, right? So 2 months.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Right. So that's not like, oh, I'm breastfeeding or, oh, I'm taking off the baby weight. Like, that's a significant amount.
Yeah.
And so all those different things were like your intuition saying, but no, that doesn't sound right. But then we have other people who are wise, who we think, oh, they have these degrees, they should know.
Yeah.
But I think it's so important, even still, like, we know ourselves better than anybody else, even the medical professionals.
Yeah. And the one thing I wish that everything's clear in retrospect, so you learn so much throughout. One thing I wish I had done more is I did have mom friends that I spoke to, but, you know, there's a little bit of taboo about talking about bowel movements or talking about, you know, toilet things. But I wish that I had, because after the fact, after I had my diagnosis, I spoke to a friend who actually had postpartum hemorrhoids after giving birth. And what she described, I was thinking, like, that's not what I had. Like, mine was completely different than that. But at the time, I didn't realize it because I didn't, you know, speak to anyone about those things, which seemed more private. So.
Yeah, and community is so important.
It
and
is,
I know that we are making something sweet, but I like to say that it's not all sugar, it's the recipe. So if we have to talk about bowel movements and other stuff, it's okay, right? Because really we have to become comfortable with the uncomfortable, right? So many times it's like you said, it's like, oh, I don't know if I should say that, you know, or whatever. But if we can all just learn one lesson in life, which is become comfortable with the uncomfortable and say those things, because, you know, it could definitely change the narrative of our life. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we're going to crack some eggs. Now, are you an egg cracker or not? Because if you don't, if you're not, okay. All right. So we're going to crack 3 eggs.
Trying to teach my 3-year-old how to crack an egg right now.
Oh,
so.
That's good. I started teaching my kids really early in the kitchen. I literally, like, when they were still babies, I put them in the high chair, and to entertain them and also to keep them quiet while I was cooking, I was like, yes, mommy's cracking an egg. See, this is an egg, you see, and it has the egg white and the egg yolk, and I'll, like, cut the onions and, like, see, this is an onion, and I'm, like, having a whole conversation with them, but it would keep them entertained, and then they wouldn't cry, and then I could get what I need to get done, right? Because you know how it is. It's like, how do I, like, get this baby on my hip and make dinner at the same time? So that was my little trick to doing that. So that kind of is what helped me. All right, so we're going to mix this together. So we have our oil, we have our sugar, we have our brown sugar, we have our egg. And, you know, the one thing I love about being in Portugal is that the eggs here are clearly farm fresh, right? I don't know how it is in the UK. I mean, I've been to London before, but I haven't really grocery shopped there. I was more of a tourist. But they have, the fresh eggs that you don't have to refrigerate. In America, our eggs are refrigerated.
Yeah,
So
it's the same in the UK. I think the US might be the only country that I've lived in where they actually look white and you have to put them in the refrigerator.
Really?
Yeah.
And you've lived a lot of places.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about, like, once you got that diagnosis, you have an 18-month-old baby. Like, what did
8-month-old, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
8-month-old. Thank you. 8-month-old baby. Tell me what was your first reaction?
I mean, my first reaction was I was scared I wasn't going to be there for her. I was scared that she, wasn't going to remember me, that So that's obviously, and I think that's true for a lot of people with cancer diagnoses, is their first thought goes to that fear of not being around.
For the baby.
Yeah.
Just watching her grow, all that. Okay.
Yeah.
So now what did they give you in terms of your prognosis because it was early onset?
Yeah, it was, but early onset simply means between the ages of 20 and 50. So in like the cancer world, if you're above 50 and have cancer, you're kind of normal. You're like, this is what we expect of a normal person. Okay. But if you're under 50 and between 20, you're called early onset colorectal cancer.
Got it.
And also, like, just to bring this into, so March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, so it's a really important month. And I know actually colorectal cancer has been in the news a lot because people like James Vanderbeek, he just died of colorectal cancer. Chadwick Boseman a few years ago, he died of colorectal cancer. So there's a lot of, like, it's becoming more and more in the news, but it's actually the #1 fastest growing type of cancer in young people, and they don't know why. Yeah, so I guess that was kind of a little bit of a tangent, but
no, but that's important to know.
Yeah. And there's a lot of research going in to understand, like, how it differs in young people from older people, because rates of colorectal cancer in older people are dropping drastically, and rates in young people are rising drastically. And they don't know why. So they're also, too, like, young people are often diagnosed as stage 3 and 4. Older people are usually diagnosed as stage 1 and 2.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I on the other hand, so originally they diagnosed me at stage 3, which actually means they think it's spread a little bit, like, to the lymph nodes, but it hasn't spread a lot. Right. But they decided to do surgery first, which they did with a robot. So I have 5 like scars and where the robot was inside me. And they took out 17 lymph nodes, and none of them were affected, which means that they downgraded me to stage 2, which is overall better prognosis.
Better. Absolutely.
Yeah. So now I'm on follow-up for 5 years. So
got it. Okay. So now we're going to add in our flour. Actually, we're going to add in our other ingredients into our flour. So we have our cinnamon, which you were talking about. The spice of life. Love cinnamon. It smells so good. It's so aromatic. Yeah. And then we have our nutmeg. We have our salt here. And then we have baking soda and baking powder. So I like to say the baking powder gives it power because it helps to give lift to our cupcakes. So we are going to mix this together a little bit just so we can have everything nicely integrated. And then we're going to add it into our wet ingredients. So super simple. I don't add in, I love nuts, by the way, but I don't put nuts in my carrot cake anymore. I should say I used to, but my kids have food allergies, and so one of them are nuts.
All right.
But I put like pecan or walnut. And but anywho, that's okay. That's okay. It's still going to be delicious.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I do add raisins or things like that in it. So that's the cool thing about, like, the carrot cake is that you can add stuff in, kind of like with life. You can add, take away. Yeah. Whatever kind of fits your fancy. Okay, so you were diagnosed stage 2. First they thought stage 3, then it was stage 2, which was like a little bit of a relief. So what was your treatment process like?
So actually, in the end, when they downgraded it, they basically said that receiving chemo wouldn't give me a big benefit. So I was going to have chemo following surgery, but they decided not to. So in a way, it was really great because I had this meeting a month after my surgery, and the doctor said, great, we didn't see any cancer in the lymph nodes, so you're done. And so there's a side of me that was like, okay, great. And then anyone that's experienced cancer, anyone that's gone through it knows that the real mental challenge starts when treatment ends.
It's like we get diagnosed, and then, or not even diagnosed, but like whether it's diagnosed or whether you get some type of bad news or anything in life, right? It's like once it's all over. Like I think about for me, like I've lost both my parents, and once the funeral is over and all of that, that's when you have to like really sit with it and figure out, how do I start to heal all of these emotions? How do I reckon with all of these things? How do I move forward, right, in life? So because you're going through, it's like with the funeral, I felt like, you know, I'm like planning everything and I'm doing all the things that's keeping me busy. So maybe kind of similar with treatment. It's like you're doing all the things to like survive, and you're not survival mode. And then it's like, okay, I made it.
But it was exactly the same. It's so I've done a few kind of support programs which have really helped me, but one of them, they gave this analogy of going through cancer is kind of like going up this mountain, and you've got all these people cheering you on and people are giving you the tools to get up this mountain and things, and then you get to the top of the mountain and everyone says, great job, have a good life. And you're sitting at the top of the mountain and you're exhausted and you're terrified of getting back down. And I think that's a really good analogy. For how I felt.
Chills. That's a great analogy.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too is, you know, having cancer, and like, even though it was downgraded, like my chance of recurrence is still between 20 and 25% for the first 5 years. And that's a big percent.
That is a big percent.
And so a lot of the past 2 years for me has been learning to live with that insecurity, learning to like still enjoy life with that insecurity.
How are you? That's what I was going to say. How are you able to do that? Because I know sometimes it's hard to live in the moment when you have this thing that's looming. So how have you been able to do that?
I mean, I would say the number one thing that has helped me is actually being a mom. And like, although it was such a challenging time to have that diagnosis, at the same time, you know, when you've got an 8-month-old or a 1-year-old who has no idea what's going on and all they want to do is play, it brings you into that moment, you know, or when you see their needs and that you can actually still provide for their needs, that's what like pulled me into the moment. And still all the time, like I have more and more good days and fewer and fewer bad days. But even on those bad days, Margot, she's my like little shining joy. You know, she brings me into the moment. She just wants to play.
They just want to be kids. They just want to be loved and have fun. And that's awesome. So what advice would you give to someone who, like you said, got to that mountain, everyone's cheering them on, then everyone goes home, you know, and they're like, okay, have a nice life. So what do you say to that person that's up there that's trying to figure out?
My biggest piece of advice is to like find that community. And for me, like I did have, so we've lived in a lot of countries and we don't live near any families. So that was one kind of difficult piece. We do have friends, but I would almost say like find your community that really get what you're going through. And for me, I found an organization in the UK which specifically supports that early onset group, so between 20 and 50 who've gone through cancer. And the first event I attended with them, and I started to say a little bit, it's like everyone just got it. Like there was no needing to explain, everyone just got it. And that was like such a relief to find that group of people that you could just, you know, I can, and even like I've met people in there that have had colorectal cancer too, and you can just say all these things that even the closest people to you can't say them in the same way as you can to someone who just gets it. So for me, that's been really invaluable.
Community is so important. It's so important because, like you said, even with your friend who was having the hemorrhoids, different experience, but you know, when you have those new moms and you're able to really be open and transparent and talk to them, like you said, that even in that is community. So whether it's you're going through cancer, you're a new mom, you have a death, like finding that community, because sometimes they've been through what you've been through, or maybe something similar, can give you some advice or say, okay, well, this is my experience, and you can compare it to your experience. But yes, community is so key. So thank you for that. Okay, so we are going to now move into these carrots, girl, because we got to get these carrots done. All right, then we're going to add the carrots in, and then we're going to bake it off. It's going to be super simple. So we're using a 1/2 pound of carrots, so 8 ounces. And I've already started peeling some of these, and we're going to have to peel the rest. So let me get the peeler out. So when I like to peel my carrots, I like to peel away from myself. So I don't know. How did you do you peel carrots at all?
I do, yeah, but
You're like,
I'm trying to remember what I do.
And the reason why is just so that the blade goes away from me.
Yeah.
And then I turn it the other way and just do it like that so it goes away from me. That's all. So I'm going to have you help me peel the last one as I kind of cut the little edges off of these so that we can go ahead and grade them. Yeah, there you go. Then we're going to grade them. We're going to be ready to go. So, all right. So one of the things I love too is that when I'm like cooking, I like to eat my scraps. Oh. And I know you have a kitchen confession.
Yeah.
So if anybody comes in this kitchen, you have to give your kitchen confession. So while we are working on getting these carrots graded and cut, we're going to hear Renee's kitchen confession.
Hi, I'm Renee, and this is my tiny dog Rusky, and this is my kitchen confession. I am not a big cook. I do cook. I like good food, but the thing I love is actually grocery shopping. I love grocery shopping by myself. This is probably a post becoming a mother thing, but I love meandering through the aisles, picking things slowly, doing more than one circle, not feeling rushed. I love it. I love grocery shopping. And also, so we've lived in a few countries. We're currently in Portugal, but we've lived in a lot of different countries. And the other thing I love is grocery shopping in new places. I love seeing what different foods they have, comparing, trying new things. I love the experience of that. So grocery shopping, that's my favorite.
Okay, so we have those carrots ready. So now we can take a half pound of carrots, dump it into here. And if you want, you can do the honors of starting to mix it together.
Nice.
Yes. So I know that you are very passionate about helping other survivors. So tell me a little bit about what you've been up to.
Yeah, so the organization in the UK I found is called Shine Cancer Support, and they provide all sorts of programs to help young adults who've gone through cancer. But one of the things that I think I didn't realize too is how much they help with is that when you're a young adult or when you're, between 20 and 50 and having cancer, you're not just dealing with cancer, but you're dealing with how do I have cancer and grow my career? How do I have cancer and raise children? How do I have cancer? We've got friends or we've got people in our support group who, how do I have cancer and start dating again? How do I have cancer? And, there's all sorts of things that you deal with that, it's not to discount the experience of someone who's 60 years old and having cancer. It's also very difficult. But I think there's a unique set of challenges of people in this age group who are dealing with cancer. And so for me, finding that group was just instrumental. It was so necessary in my path to finding healing and just finding that understanding through other people. And so I did a lot of their online programs, but there wasn't an in-person meetup group in my area. So I actually approached the organization and I said, can I start one? And they said, yeah. So now we've got a group where about 6 or 8 people who regularly come to our meetups each month. And it's just a great moment, like everyone has different types of cancer, but there's always something to connect about. And the greatest thing is actually, you wouldn't believe, but I would say the majority of the time we're together, it's laughing. Yeah. We're laughing together.
And that's what you should be doing.
Yeah. And sometimes it's about our experiences. We're able to laugh at kind of weird, morbid things that no one else can laugh about with us. Yeah. So we laugh together. We vent together. But it's a really great moment. So I'm really happy to be part of this organization. And it's a great way to turn. There's already some focus in my head about cancer, but at least now I get to focus it on something positive. Yes. So it's not just sitting in my head doing nothing, but I get to actually use it.
Yes, basically taking those lemons and making lemonade.
Yeah.
Or I like to say lemon bars. I make some lemon bars. Yes, lemonade's okay too. But, why not make some lemon bars?
Yeah.
Or lemon pie or lemon something. Right? But yeah, that's really beautiful. So I want to go back to when you talked about advocating, because I feel like that's so important, not just, when it comes to your health, but just being an advocate for yourself in general, whether it's in relationships, whether it's at your kid's school or just whatever that case may be. How do we make sure that we're advocating for ourselves? And I know it's like listening to our intuition, but for you, when the doctors were telling you it's this, is this, is this, how did you get to that place to say, okay, I am going to go somewhere else or get a second opinion? Or what was that process like of you just saying, I'm really going to advocate for myself? Did you even say to some of the doctors, I think you're wrong? Or what was that process like?
I mean, it was pretty bad, even because the first person that flagged to me the possibility of colorectal cancer was actually my physio. Because all the doctors were saying it's postpartum. So I actually went to a pelvic floor physio, and the first thing she asked me is, she says, have you been screened for colorectal cancer? And I said no. And so I went back to the GP, and the GP again said no, the physio doesn't know what they're talking about, that sort of thing. But she planted that seed in my head that said, okay, I need this. And for me, and I think what relates to maybe anyone, not just cancer, but anything, is like, if you really feel unheard, find that person who will listen. Like, and no matter if the answer is you're good, you know, like in giving you that reassurance, just find someone who will listen. Until you feel heard, like you're not getting what you need. So
and so then you went and found a different doctor. You said a private doctor, because you were feeling unheard from these other doctors. How did you find that doctor? Did someone recommend them, or did you do some research to say, okay, this seems like a doctor that like will listen to me? Or I mean, how did you kind of come to that?
I mean, honestly, it's just kind of logistics. And I do have private health insurance in the UK. I had never used it before. It's a bit of a complicated system, but I went on the website and, you know, looked for the nearest kind of colorectal surgeon in my region, covered by my insurance. So it wasn't.
Okay. So you went from going to like the primary to actual getting a colorectal cancer specialist. But in the public system, did you ever go to a specialist?
You can't in the public system. There's no the GPs are the gatekeepers. If the GP doesn't let you get an appointment with a specialist, you don't. So
so you went around.
Okay,
and I
went around.
Yes, but you know what? There is always a way. I tell people all the time, there's always a way. Like you said, advocate for yourself, trust yourself, find someone who will listen to you. And even if you are wrong, even if you're crazy, it's better to be wrong
and heard
than to be right and you know, things not come out well, right? So it's better. I'd rather just be crazy and heard.
Absolutely.
And they say the squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? So we have to keep advocating. So that was really good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, we have it nice and mixed together. We're just going to start putting some of this in our cupcake liner. Now listen, I normally have a scooper at home, but you know, we're in Portugal and I don't have a cupcake scooper.
When in Portugal.
So when in Portugal, just, you know, relax. That's one of the things, seriously, I have learned. I feel like this place just beckons me to just relax and to just soak in every day and not rush or anything like that. So that's one of the things I do love about being here. What do you love about being in Portugal?
Oh gosh. I mean, the beauty of it, like I love looking up at the mountain and the castle every day. I think that's really beautiful.
Isn't that wonderful? I love our views. I agree with you on that.
But I actually told my new GP, she said to me, it was about something completely different. And she said, oh, it's just that. And I started to get I could feel this emotional response in me. And I told her, I was like, just so you know, like the word just really triggers me because I was told so many times, like, it's just this, it's just this. I was like, I'm happy for you to explain what your like hypothesis is, but do not tell me it's just like this. I was like, I can't do that.
And I love that you also shared, this is my trigger. This is what bothers me. And even in relationships, I mean, we can apply this to so much in life, not just talking to our doctors, but to say, you know, this is a trigger for me. Like, I just want to, like, let's work through this, right? And tell me your reasons. So I feel like you did a very good job not only advocating for yourself, but communicating what you need, but also where your boundaries are, right? Like this is what I will tolerate, what I not, you know, what I will not. And so that's powerful. It is. You should be proud of yourself.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, seriously. All right. So tell me your favorite comfort food.
Oh gosh. So I actually have a salty tooth, so actually popcorn.
Oh, I love popcorn too. Oh my gosh.
I love popcorn.
You cannot, well, I have not found good popcorn here. Have you?
Really? I haven't looked, to be honest, because that's my one thing where I don't have a lot of self-control, so I don't buy popcorn typically.
Okay. I make popcorn at home. I have like a little swirly pop. Anyway, I love it. Okay. All right. So one word to describe the woman you were before your cancer diagnosis.
Oh gosh. Confident, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So what's the word to describe who you are now?
One word is difficult, but
Or just more than one is fine.
I was going to say like multifaceted.
Multifaceted.
You know,
Yes.
like more complex.
Yes, more complex. I love it. Okay. So, one moment that you shared with your daughter that still makes you smile.
Oh gosh. So many things. One thing we do in our family, which I just absolutely love, is Margot loves making us laugh, but she loves making silly faces, and she's always coming up with new silly faces to make. And so it's almost like a funny competition we have, like over the breakfast table, is who can make the funniest faces.
I love it. I love it. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what country do you feel like most? What's one country where you feel most at home?
Oh gosh. I mean, obviously home right now is the UK. So South Africa, though, South Africa really like holds a really special place in my heart, and as well my husband's heart. This is where we met. This is where we got married. We recently spent a month there visiting friends, and when we land, we just immediately like kind of take a deep breath, and it's just a really special place for us.
Okay. I love it. I love it. So what is one habit that mentally helped you get through your treatment or your surgery, because you didn't have the treatment, but the surgery?
But even just everything around it, because there's so much like anxiety before and after and things like that. And, you know, I really had to be deliberate with doing things for my mental health. So I had a list of like things that make me happy or things that help to calm me, essentially. Okay. And this is maybe going to be silly or surprising and stuff. A friend, when I was diagnosed, she gave me this sticker book, and it's kind of like a paint by numbers book, but it's like a sticker by number book. Oh, okay. And so it seems really simple. They have ones for kids and for adults. And I just love it. It's like meditative. You end up with these beautiful.
You just put the stickers, like attach them to the right number.
Yeah, you find the right number, you put the right sticker there, and you end up with a painting of Mona Lisa. Or you, and so.
I don't think I've seen that before. That's kind of cool. I kind of like that myself.
I have mine in my backpack here. I can show you.
Okay,
So
okay. Show me. Yeah. All right. So, what is one thing motherhood has taught you?
Oh gosh, I think for me, it's taught me like presence over perfection. You know, that like what really matters for Margot is that like I'm there and I'm present with her, and that you know, whether or not I'm exhausted or whether or not I'm feeling, you know, a bit anxious at the moment, like the thing that matters most is that I'm just present for her. Yeah. And I've decided that, you know, like there's a side of me that's happy that she sees all sides of me as well too. She doesn't just see this like put together happy person. She sees a human. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. So presence over perfection. I totally agree with that. And I think kids need to see us in vulnerable moments. I know my kids, Malia was 6, MJ was 2 when I lost my mom. And I was a mess. I was a hot mess. And so anyway, but I think it was good for them to see that I could still be present with them, right? And still not be completely always together and everything like that. And so I think that's good. I love it. Okay. So what is one piece of advice you would give to a fellow cancer survivor?
Yeah, I think going back to that, find your community. Just look for it fast. Like just take some time. Even in the beginning, you feel like you don't have strength. Just look for that community and latch onto them.
What is your favorite hype song? What song gets you hype?
Oh gosh. It's partly also because of my daughter, but she is absolutely obsessed with This Girl's on Fire. So we do a lot of dancing around to This Girl's on Fire, and also I just love it as well too.
Okay,
so.
I love it. Okay, so what is one thing you wish women knew more about trusting their bodies? Like, what's something they need to know about trusting their bodies?
That's a really good question. I think that women, like more so than men, we have a lot of symptoms that are pawned off onto our menstrual cycle or postpartum, or, you know, things are generally related to our hormones and things. And sometimes that might be true, and there's a lot of times it's not. And I think sometimes just knowing that, it can give us a bit of a stronger voice to use to go into our conversations with doctors. And
I agree. Thank you. All right. Rapid fire. You did well. You survived.
Nice.
We are are going to cream our butter so that we can make some frosting. And I have to have that homemade cream cheese frosting. So I cream 2 sticks of butter. And then we're going to put some salt in there because I use unsalted butter. I know some places, some people use salted, but I like to use unsalted because actually I find that in salted butter, you don't know how much salt they put in it. So this way we can control the salt. Okay. And then I'm going to do about 250 grams of powdered sugar. So we're going to put this powdered sugar in there. So this is about half of this box. I'm eyeballing it. So if you
see that.
I know. I'm eyeballing it. That's the fun thing. Sometimes like a lot of things in baking is a science. Nod to you. But some things you can kind of, finagle a little bit. So I feel like, it's a little give or take. And if you find that your frosting is too sweet, you can always add a little bit more of salt to kind of help to balance it or temper it a bit. But yeah, so I feel like it's okay. Not too big of a deal. So we're going to mix this until it's nice and creamy. Then we're going to add in our cream cheese. All right, get it going a little bit. And I like to say, I like to do this by hand, and you can definitely do it with a mixer, but I like to build these guns right here. Right here, Renee. We got to build our guns. Anyway, I can get some exercise in.
Yeah.
Especially since I'm eating this delicious. It's like,
don't worry, I'll help you.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so I'm going to have you pour in the vanilla. We're going to do a capful. Or actually, I like to say I measure my vanilla. Yeah, open it up all the way. I like to measure my vanilla in love.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, girl. So if you put a little more, a little less, it's okay. It's just vanilla. But yeah, go ahead. Put it in there. Thank you. Okay, so tell me, what does it mean to live the sweet life? So, it's Sweet Life with Nikki, and it's, it's all about, I like to say, it's not all sugar, it's the recipe, but what is living the sweet life now, having gone through all you've gone through? What does that mean to you?
Honestly, I think for me, living the sweet life right now means really giving myself self-compassion. And it also means taking in the good with the bad. It means not just trying to get through the hard moments, but actually accepting that I can be in pain and I can be healing at the same time, or I can feel strong and I can feel scared at the same time. And accepting those things at the same time is allowing me to just enjoy life more and just be more in the moment, be more joyful, it's just allowing me to live that sweet life. So,
I love it because two things can exist at the same time. And sometimes that's hard for us to mentally comprehend, but that's beautiful. Like you said, right? We got the sweet and we got because this right here, even though I love vanilla, it does not taste good by itself, right? But it does taste good when we add some of that sugar and butter and everything else into it. So same thing like what you just said. I love it. Okay, so we are going to try it and see if we need to have a little bit more. I got some on my finger. We need a little bit more. We need a little bit more sugar if you think, or if you think it's sweet enough.
I think it's sweet enough.
I think it's sweet enough too. I'm with you. All right, so let's frost up these beautiful cupcakes, try them, and voila. Now, I am not in my normal kitchen. However, I do have a little bit of tools here. So we are going to frost them. I have a piping bag here, and I'm just going to stick a little tip in there. And we are going to, have you ever frosted cupcakes before?
No.
It's okay.
Nothing that I would want to be on TV or YouTube.
Guess what? No judgment here. No judgment here. Even if it's on TV and YouTube, it's still no judgment here. We don't judge here, right? That's right. Sweet lifers do not judge. All right? We love people. We don't judge. Okay. So I'm going to do one, and then you can do one.
Okay.
And then if it's it doesn't matter. It's okay. So I usually will start in the middle, and I'll just work my way out to the edge. So I'll kind of start in the middle and work my way out to the edge. So you can give it a try.
Okay.
Well, that looks pretty good. Okay, what do you guys think? That was good, right? Good job. Well, I just want to thank you so much for I want to thank you so much for being here, for sharing your story. I know it's going to resonate with so many people to hear how, you were able to take this diagnosis. First of all, be a champion for your own health, be a champion for yourself, to listen to yourself, to continue to advocate until someone else listens, and to then be able to be present with your daughter, right? Which is really hard, especially when we're thinking about so many other things like our future, our lives, what does this mean? And so to be present, right, is so important. And that two things at the same time. So you gave us a lot of nuggets today. I hope that this was a good time with you, a good time for you, because it was a good time for us. And now we get to try our masterpiece. So
Thank you.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
All right, let's give it a try. All right. So I love carrot cake, by the way. It's one of my favorites.
Very good.
So we hope you guys have a sweet day. Remember, keep living the sweet life.